Good evening, everybody. This is Betsy Wurzel, host of Chatting with Betsy on Passionate World Talk Radio. Jeanne White is the producer and writes the wonderful blogs full of information. Please read it. Happy Passover, everybody. Happy Easter. I know it will be a different way to celebrate, but celebrate anyway, however you can, with whoever you can. I was going to interview someone today, but as caregiving goes, they couldn't make it, and I have a show brewing in my gut and in my head. Here on Chatting with Betsy, I will talk about the taboo and the uncomfortable. Not to toot my own horn, but toot toot, I have always been ahead of my time. And you will hear things here probably for the first time, and then you will see others follow suit. I talked about holidays and what to do before holiday time. I had talked about social isolation for at least 3 years before this pandemic. I have talked about caregiver stress before it was recognized. I have talked about death and dying. I have talked about many topics on caregiving before other people have recognized it. And I interviewed people about this pandemic before other people have. So here on Chatting with Betsy, you will get your information from a caregiver's heart, straight up, no sugarcoating. I tell it like it is because that's how I am. And I can only be who I am. And I just wanted to say that. And if you have any topics you would like for me to discuss, please PM me. I am more than happy to talk about something. What I would like to talk about tonight is my viewpoint on post-caregiving. On Monday, I am going to interview someone with their point of post-caregiving. But this is Betsy Wurzel's point of caregiving. After caregiving, I should say. After caregiving is a whole new ballgame, folks. And it is different with each experience. Unfortunately, I had dealt with Alzheimer's with my mother-in-law. And after my mother-in-law passed away, my husband and Matt and I had to pick up the pieces of our marriage and try to put it back together. It's different with each experience. There are times when, and after caregiving, a person has to mend relationships, start a whole new life over again, and really in more ways than one. If you've been out of the workforce, you might have to go back to work. I was working till this pandemic. With my mother-in-law, I had stopped working, and then I went back to work. You also have to try to mend what you can, whether it's your marriage or other family relationships, if you can. I told Matt to extend the olive branch to his sister, but she didn't want it. So, you can only offer people your forgiveness or ask them to forgive you, and if they don't want to do it, well, that's on them. But where do you and how do you pick up the pieces? It's not easy, folks. I'm going to tell it to you straight. It's not easy, not for me anyway. I go for counseling, but with this pandemic, it was, I can't go in person. I do have counseling over the phone. I would suggest counseling, folks. I would suggest going to a bereavement group when this pandemic is over. It was also canceled. you have to come to terms with your grief. I was afraid to grieve. I was afraid if I were to truly break down grieving, I wouldn't put myself back together. But I did. I had a turning point. I felt like I couldn't grieve because I had all this stuff to do, paperwork, the funeral, and I had my son to consult. So I could have fallen apart. But I finally fell apart last week, and I did come back together. And I decided, folks, people who make me have anxiety, it's bye-bye time. I was doing seminars on relationships, and it was getting me too anxious, and I let go of that. And I realized for me to move forward, and I know I have talked about this before, but to me to move forward, I had to acknowledge my pain, acknowledge my grief, and move forward. This is part of post-caregiving. And I will always have that experience of dealing with Matt's hospice situation as part of my fabric. It's part of my being. But I can't keep holding on to the anger that they caused me. I also, when my dad died, it really wasn't a problem picking up after caregiving because I didn't caregiver for him. I did lend support to my mom, and I did see my dad up until Matt became worse with his Alzheimer's and couldn't drive because I couldn't drive down there. But my mom knew I was there to talk to. Yes, I felt a hole in my heart when my father passed away. And it is different picking your life up after caregiving depending on what your relationship was with the individual. Now, post-caregiving, folks, isn't just for Alzheimer's or dementia. It could be taking care of a child. It can be a parent. It could be anybody that you cared for. And then the people who've put their life on hold now have to realize, oh, I have to, go get a job if they need to get a job. How do I socialize again? Who am I again? What are my things I like to enjoy? And so I had to find myself after caregiving. Who is Betsy Wurzel? What do I like to do? And then I realized, I love talking on Chatting with Betsy. I have my Kick Alzheimer's Ass movement group. I wanted to go forward. I wanted to go to a dance, but that was canceled. So for now, all I can do with this pandemic is concentrate on healing myself and moving forward. You are also faced with, after caregiving, giving away the person's clothes and possessions. Maybe you have to move. Right now, I'm staying where I am. I did give away some of Matt's clothes to a friend of Joshua's, but I can't really give away his clothes now because of the pandemic. Matt was very patriotic, and my dad was a veteran, and Matt's dad was a veteran. So I think Matt would like for me to donate his clothes to the veterans home that is not too far from us. But I can't do that now. I would have to do it after this is over, but I'm not really ready yet to empty out his side of the closet. And folks, if you have lost a loved one, unless you have to move out or unless you have to pack up and sell a person's house or get out of an apartment or townhouse, whatever your situation, then take your time. You don't have to rush to pack up possessions unless you're in a time crunch where you have to get out by a certain time. Then you have no other choice. But it's not easy for everyone to move forward. And in speaking to other caregivers, people don't want to hear about their experience or what they went through. And part of healing and part of moving forward is talking about your experience and acknowledging it. And if people don't want to hear about your experience or your grieving, then go to a support group or a counselor that will hear you out. That can be objective, because that's a process of healing, folks. I heard it in the grieving seminar. And I just want to tell folks out there, for you to enjoy life after caregiving, and I know I sound like a broken record, you must do self-care. You have to. If you want to enjoy life after caregiving and able to move forward afterwards, you need to take care of yourself as you are caregiving as much as possible. Yes, I know it's difficult. Yes, I know it's hard. But whenever you can, do it. And after your loved one has passed and post-caregiving life, be kind to yourself, caregiver, post-caregiver. Be gentle with yourself. Love yourself. Let yourself heal on all dimensions, spiritual, physical, mental. Because I'm going to tell you from my experience, I was depleted, completely depleted. And I really am grateful for this time to rest. I am resting. And by God's grace, I made it through with my health really intact, and I'm ever so grateful, so that I can enjoy I can enjoy my life after caregiving once this pandemic is over. But I am enjoying it now on what I can do now. I can do more interviews because I am home. Excuse me. I can be more involved in my group because I am home now. So there are advantages to being home. It is very hard for me personally, this is my own personal experience, to look at pictures of the past. I do, and I start crying, which is normal, but I can't really look at too many pictures at one time. It's just too painful for me right now. But post-caregiving is so many different emotions, folks. And what a post-caregiver goes through, you have the emotional. You have the emotional of the grieving, of questioning even yourself. Did I do everything right? Don't second-guess yourself, post-caregiver. You did the best you can with the knowledge that you had. I had to come to the acceptance that I did the best that I could for Matt. I fought for Matt. Unfortunately, my home hospice care was a nightmare. I didn't want Matt to suffer. He did. And that I did blame myself for. Apologize to Matt, but now, like I said, it's not my fault. I did fight for Matt. As long as you know and you did what you could, things are out of our control. I couldn't control hospice. I tried. They know how I felt. I told them the injustice, and I put my negatives into a positive and being proactive and making phone calls, writing letters. If you feel that your loved one was not treated properly, there was injustice, be proactive. Do your letters. It's cathartic. Scream out loud if you have to. I did. I did in the car today. I must have looked like a nut. I was cursing up a storm. And I felt better. Do what you need to do to feel better for yourself. Spiritually, I was depleted. I am going to go back to church after this pandemic. I need to be revived spiritually. I am listening to church services at home because that's what they're doing now. I want to reconnect with the people in church, and that will make me feel better. You could do what you do to make you feel better spiritually. Everyone has their own beliefs. And physically, get your rest. I tell caregivers, after your loved one goes, you might feel like you've been hit like a Mack truck because you've been running on adrenaline for so long that your body's going to decompress and you are going to be exhausted. Rest. Rest as much as you can. And if you can delay going back to work, do it. But rest your body. And show yourself grace. There's nothing wrong, and it is not selfish to be kind to yourself. And now you can't socialize, but there's nothing wrong when this pandemic is over and if your loved one passes for you to say to someone, I'm sorry, I don't feel like going out today or tonight. I need to rest. It's okay. Don't worry about what other people think. If you like to meditate, I've been meditating. I listen to all kinds of meditation when I'm sleeping, healing meditation. There's meditation of all different kinds, healing, peace, gratitude. Meditate on Bible verses. There's Bible meditation. Whatever brings you comfort, do it. Do self-care after caregiving. Go for a massage if you can. I don't mean now, after this is over. I went for a massage after Matt passed away. I needed it. It's okay. And caregivers, I can't stress this enough, post-caregivers, well, caregivers and post-caregivers, we're all on different paths on our journey. You have every single right to enjoy your life after caregiving. Don't worry what people think. You have a right to enjoy yourself. You want to go on a vacation? Do it. I wish I could, because I would. You have a right to enjoy going socializing, going to meetups, going to social groups, social gatherings. You even have a right, if you want to, online dating. That's not my thing, but hey, if it's your thing, go for it. There's nothing wrong with wanting to go out and meet people or looking for a relationship again. Personally, I don't want a relationship at this point in time, but that's me. But I do want to go out and enjoy myself and have fun. You might say, oh, Betsy, you gave this talk before. We're talking about not dealing with grief, but post-caregiving life, what to expect, how I'm dealing with it. Everyone deals with it differently. And I want to enjoy my life. And I always encourage Josh, my son, to go on and enjoy his life. And that mom has a right to her life and to enjoy her life. Don't let your children dictate to you what you can and cannot do after caregiving. And I know that this has happened. Children, adult children with lives of their own, get upset that their parents are enjoying life or have met somebody. I know someone. They were upset because their dad started dating right away after their mom passed. Well, I don't know about anyone else. I mean, I'm not looking for a relationship, but you know what, folks? If you've been caregiving for a long time, I was 5 years with my mother-in-law, 10 years with Matt. That's a long time to put your life on hold. Some people it's less, some people it's more. It's a long time to be socially isolated and not having fun. So I would tell your children, you're living your life. I'm not stopping you. I'm going to live my life. And that bothers you, well, that's too bad. Now, I know children are going to be protective, especially sons with their moms. And I know Josh is going to be very protective. And also, in some cases, people do take advantage of widows and widowers. They think they have money, and they think they're going to find a sugar mama or a sugar daddy and be a gold digger. Well, that is something that adult children might be afraid of. I can understand that. But as parents, we let children make mistakes. Sometimes children have to let parents make mistakes. And I know that might sound kind of bizarre, but, you know, it's just a different way of life, post-caregiving. You do have to pick up the pieces. Is it easy? No, it's not easy. And some days are better than others. But life after caregiving at times can be hard. You know, when you pack up your loved one's things, you're going to feel emotions. You might feel uncomfortable going out by yourself. You might feel uncomfortable going to a social group or a dance. That's okay. And it's okay to even be fearful doing it, but do it. Do it anyway. If you're going to meet anybody online, I suggest you meet in a public place. Do not meet them at their house. Do not let them come to your house. Meet in a public place, and that way you can leave. Don't give them your address, although nowadays they can find it from the internet. Technology is good, but sometimes technology has its pitfalls. And I want to encourage post-caregivers to take each day as it comes, each moment as it comes. You're going to have tough moments. It's okay. And it's okay, post-caregiver, to be happy that you are free. And it's okay to feel like I'm happier now, I'm less anxious, and I want to enjoy life. I have a zest for life. It's okay. Life is worth living. Life is for the living. Live your life. Do it in honor of your loved one if you want to. You have a right, post-caregiver, to live your life and enjoy your life. This is part of life after caregiving. It's getting used to being by yourself and facing your fears, facing your anxiety. Some people need help. I do. So when I'm talking to a counselor, and I'm not ashamed of it. Check your senior centers. Now they are not allowing people to come in, but call up your senior center for resources. Ask them what they are offering over the phone. My senior center where I live in my township is wonderful. They call up every couple of weeks and check on you, and they have a lot of resources. Use them. That's what you pay taxes for. I get free counseling. They know places where you can get pharmacy deliveries and grocery deliveries. Use your local town's resources. It might be called something different where you live. Here it's called the senior centers, multi-purpose. center. Your county office of aging might be called something different where you live. Call them for resources and that they could be of a help to you. Just remember, post-caregiver, this is a fragile time. Yes, sometimes I do feel fragile, but I am stronger now. I had to break down, and it's okay to break down, to come apart, to come together. I mean, stronger than ever. It's okay to be knocked down. It doesn't matter how many times you're knocked down. What matters is how much do you get up. You can get up. You have every right to enjoy life and to be joyful and to find peace in your post-caregiving days and to enjoy life and to have a different outlook on life. What most people don't realize, unless they live through this, you are never the same going through caregiving journey. It doesn't matter what the situation was, what the illness was, what the disease was. Caregiving changes a person. And it's either going to make you a better person or not. I chose for it to make me a better person, and it did. And I did give a talk on that a long time ago, and maybe I'll do it again. But you need to come to terms with what was, and you can never go back to your pre-caregiving life because you're not the same person. Pick up where you are now. Start building your life now. Make it better if you can. But be aware that you need to appreciate life. I know a lot of people are sick of their caregiving. Some people don't survive caregiving. And I'm thankful. I'm very thankful that I survived caregiving. And God thought to make me strong enough to survive caregiving for a reason. And I'm here for a reason. And I know what that reason is. It is to help caregivers. I found my passion. Find your passion, folks. Find your passion after caregiving. What do you love to do? What feeds your soul? And do it. And don't be afraid what others think. What's a hobby that you always wanted to do that you couldn't do while caregiving? Did you want to write a book? Did you want to go visit people? Did you want to go to a certain place on vacation? Then do these things if you can and when you can. I just want to encourage post-caregivers to know that even though you're sad and yes, you're grieving, you can get through this. No, you will not get over your loved one passing. I know I won't. But you can and you will get through it to the other side. You will break through to the other side. And you will come out stronger than before. Believe in your faith if you have faith. Believe in yourself that, yes, you can do it. I was never one to be afraid to be alone. I was a loner when I was a youngster, so I'm used to that. And I've always been comfortable with my own company. Some people aren't. They need people around. So everyone is different. But be comfortable with yourself. Because if you're not comfortable with your own company, No one else is going to be comfortable with your company. If you have low self-esteem, work on that. There's TED Talks, there's motivational talks. Work on it. Now is the time, post-caregiving, to do self-improvement. And there's nothing wrong with that, no matter what your age. You can always learn and improve. Life is a learning process. And as long as you're living and breathing and you can read and you can see or you can hear, you can learn. And I am learning so much. I have learned so much. I never thought in a million years that I would ever do videos. Never thought I would be talking on a radio station. I am not a professional speaker. I did not go to college in communications. I speak from my heart, folks, and I'm speaking from my experience. Am I an expert? No. Do I know everything? No, I do not. But I can tell you what I do know. I can tell you what I know so you don't make the same mistake that I made. And now this life after caregiving, you're living it with me. I'm sharing it with you. I never experienced this with a spouse before. An in-law, yes. A parent, yes. But not with the spouse. And it's different for everyone. But if I could be of any help to you, you can contact me. My Facebook page is Betsy Wurzel, W-U-R-Z-E-L. You can PM me. You could probably contact me through this radio station, Passion World Talk Radio. You can leave a comment. I also have a support group, #Kick Alzheimer's Ass Movement. And that's another thing you could do. Post-caregiver, if you want, start your own support group. There you go. Go out in your community, which is what I'd like to do next year. Be a volunteer. There's always something you can do. And you know what? When you help others, you're helping yourself. And you'll feel better about yourself. My support group, sorry about that, got on a rabbit trail. My support group is for all dementias. You can have dementia. You can have a loved one with dementia. You don't even have to be a caregiver. We have people who are not caregivers, but they want to learn about Alzheimer's and other dementias. They want to be supportive to caregivers. We have people who have lost loved ones, veteran caregivers that are staying in to help what I call the newbies. There's a lot of people who are just starting their journey. They need help, and you can help them. Be a mentor. You can help people by sharing your experience. If you would like to come on my show and talk about your post-caregiving experience or your caregiving experience, let me know. PM me. Whatever topic people want me to talk about, let me know. And I want you all to stay safe in this pandemic. Wash your hands, use hand sanitizer, wear a mask, wear gloves, make sure you wash your hands properly, and be safe. Stay home. I want to thank all the people who are out there every day risking their lives, nurses, doctors, first responders, people in housekeeping in the hospitals, the cashiers, food service, whoever you are, you know who you are. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I want to wish everyone a happy holiday season. It is also Ramadan, which I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. And be well, be safe, and be blessed. Till I talk again, this is Betsy Wurzel, host of Chatting with Betsy and Passionate World Talk Radio. Thank you. Bye-bye.